Hello and welcome to your lesson for today. My name is Kyle Broda with fullskillsexamprep.com. Again, this is your sample question number 2 for the new Federal Skilled Worker program, which was just released. This will definitely be on your Iccrc exam, so it's really important for you to study up on this, and of course have practice questions with feedback, right? Which is why we offer our books and seminars. Okay, so like I said before, this will be on your Iccrc exam for sure. They might include some of the older Federal Skilled Worker Program questions as well, just to make sure that you know the difference between the two. So make sure you're updated, and of course know the difference between the new one and the old one. Here's your new question over here, and I have to warn you, this one's a little bit tricky. Brendan is a PhD student at Dalhousie University. He loves his program and hopes that, after graduation, he can stay in Canada and immigrate. He has 2 years of studies completed already and expects to graduate in 2 more years. He calls you because he would like to know the earliest possible date he can submit his application. Assuming he meets all other criteria, what would you tell him? We have A, he can apply immediately. B, he must wait until he graduates. C, he must apply for a post-grad work permit and then apply. Or D, he must leave the country after he graduates and then apply. So, as usual, I'll give you about a minute to think about your answer. Alright, we'll stop there. So I hope you have an idea anyways about what the answer probably is. If you don't know it, don't worry, we'll explain it to you over here. And this of course will help you with any potential questions that are similar to this in your Iccrc exam. Remember, we have 3 test day simulations for you, which they each contain 100 different questions. So that's 300 questions in total like this to help you pass your Iccrc exam. And of course with the seminar, you get to really analyze what the question types are and how to read through them. So if I were you, I would just keep that in mind as the test day approaches for you. So as usual, you're going to try to match up the scenario they give you with the criterion for this category. So I'll give you just a few seconds for this one. Alright, let's take a look at what you got. So as you can see, they do have the education part over there and the experience part, but it's a little bit different, right? I told you this question was a bit tricky, so that's part of that trickiness. And there's one really important part as well that he might have focused on a little bit, and that's that he wants to know the earliest possible date he can submit his application. So just like before, remember he has to meet the different criterion in order to go to the points system. But as you may have noticed, even though the PhD program is under the Federal Skilled Worker, it's a little bit different, right? So we wouldn't really need to think about his experience in terms of job experience, more like in terms of the amount of time he's been in his program. So remember that minimum is 2 years, right? For these eligible occupations, we don't need to really think about that either. He doesn't need an LMO because he doesn't need a job offer. And the PhD stream, yes, this would definitely pertain to him. So you can tell which one he'd be in probably right away. Would he be an enrolled PhD student, or would he be a graduated PhD student? Hopefully you remember the question, and he is a enrolled PhD student with 2 years towards his PhD. His English and French skills, they don't really mention anything about it, so we wouldn't really have to think about that. His education, they said Dalhousie University, which is a university here in Canada. You're probably getting pretty good at your cities and different universities from doing, if you have the booklets, because we mention a lot of different places here in Canada. So that's obviously a Canadian credential, which is fine. The points wouldn't really matter in this question as well. Neither would proof of funds, because they didn't mention anything about that. So, as we said, he meets, green means go, so he meets those two requirements for experience in education. For language, they don't mention anything. So he would carry on to the points system, which he would, we don't really know if maybe he's missing something, but it sounds like he would probably be pretty good. So if you answered A, yes, he can apply immediately, that's the perfect answer. You might have noticed that there's a couple options in here, right? So he must wait until he graduates. He could, because then he could go into that second category. But the trick is, he said, as soon as possible, the earliest possible date he can submit his application. So if they didn't have that, maybe B could be correct, but A is more correct, so that would definitely be the answer. C is actually the same thing as B, because that's what he would do, right? He would have a postgrad work permit and then could graduate, apply under either this program or maybe even the CEC program as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that sample question as well. I hope these help you, because remember, if you're just reading through the articles and stuff like that, it's really good for you as well, of course, but you need sample questions with feedback, and that's what really helps you get ready for your ICCRC exam. So you'll have one more question on the Federal Skilled Worker Program next week, and in the meantime, you can like us on Facebook or follow our blog, or you can even order our books and seminars online to make sure that you are really prepared for your exam. All right, have a good day, and talk to you soon.